The first time I heard about Natalie, she was already a memory, a ghost. My fiancé, Marcus, told me about her with just enough tears to seem real and just enough vagueness to avoid any hard questions. His wife of 5 years dead in a car accident. He showed me a photo once, a beautiful woman with dark, sad eyes, and confessed he still visited her grave every year. I held his hand and told him I understood. I told him grief has no timeline and that I would never, ever try to replace her. I was so busy being the perfect, understanding girlfriend that I never stopped to ask the obvious questions. Like, why couldn't I find her obituary online? Why did his in-laws never reach out? Why, when I searched her name, did nothing come up? I was so in love, so desperate to be the one who finally healed his broken heart, that I completely ignored every single red flag waving right in my face. After 2 years, we were engaged. Marcus planned the most beautiful wedding at a vineyard in Sonoma. We had string lights twinkling in the old oak trees and a string quartet playing our song. My mom cried happy tears, my dad gave a touching speech, and Marcus looked at me like I was the only person in the entire world. It was a perfect fairy tale. It was everything I had ever dreamed of. Until she walked in. The ceremony was over, and we were at the reception, just about to cut the cake. Suddenly, the big barn doors at the back swung open. Everyone turned to look. And there she was. The woman from the photo. She was older now, much thinner, with dark shadows under her eyes, but it was unmistakably her. Natalie, his dead wife. She was wearing a grey, shapeless prison dress with the letters CDC stenciled on the back. Her hair was pulled back tightly, and she was flanked by 2 uniformed officers who looked like they would rather be anywhere else in the world. Marcus dropped the cake knife. It clattered to the floor, splattering white frosting all over my wedding dress. His face turned the color of ash. He looked like he was seeing a ghost, which, I guess, in a way, he was. "Hello, Marcus," she said. Her voice was surprisingly calm, almost amused. "Didn't expect to see me here." The room just exploded. People were gasping, whispering, pulling out their phones to record. My mother grabbed my arm, and my father stepped forward as if he was about to do something. But I just stood there frozen, with cake on my dress, watching my entire life dissolve into absolute chaos. Natalie walked towards us, the officers following a few steps behind. She stopped right in front of me, looked me up and down, and then she smiled. It wasn't a mean smile. It was something far worse. It was sympathetic. "You look beautiful," she said. "I'm so sorry to do this on your big day." But he really left me no other choice. Marcus finally found his voice. It was high and shaky. "You're supposed to be, you can't be. Supposed to be what? Dead." She let out a short, bitter laugh. "No. Just incarcerated. For the last 5 years. For killing the woman you were sleeping with while you were married to me." The whispers in the room grew louder. Someone let out a loud gasp. I felt the ground start to tilt beneath my feet. "Her name was Eleanor," Natalie continued, her eyes locked on Marcus. "She was 23. A waitress at the diner where you used to have breakfast. You told her you were divorced. You told her I was crazy. You told her a lot of things, didn't you, Marcus?" He was shaking his head, backing away, but there was nowhere for him to go. Our wedding guests had formed a circle around us, like a human arena, all watching the spectacle unfold. "I came home early from a business trip," Natalie said, her voice steady. "I found you both. In our bed. In our house. The house my grandmother left me. I don't really remember picking up the lamp. I don't remember hitting her. I just remember the blood, and you running away, and her not moving. The room fell into a complete, suffocating silence. They charged me with manslaughter. The judge called it a crime of passion, gave me a reduced sentence. I've been in Chowchilla State Prison for 5 years. And you, her voice cracked for the first time, you told everyone I was dead. You erased me. You just moved on. You found someone new to lie to. She looked at me again, and this time her eyes were filled with tears. I am sorry. I truly am. But he needed to be exposed. And you. You needed to know who you were really marrying. I don't remember much of what happened right after that. I know my father stepped between me and Marcus. I know my mom was crying. I know someone called the police the real police, not Natalie's escort. I remember my cousin, who used to be a college linebacker, tackling Marcus when he tried to make a run for it. He held him down until the cops arrived. But the image that's burned into my memory is of Natalie. She stood apart from all the chaos, just watching it all unfold with this unreadable expression. It wasn't triumph. It wasn't satisfaction. It was just exhaustion. The deep, bone-weary exhaustion of someone who had spent 5 years in a cell, knowing her husband was out there, free, and just waiting for the day she could finally tell the truth. I walked over to her. I'm not even sure why. Maybe because in that entire room, she was the only person who could possibly understand what it felt like to have your world completely destroyed by Marcus. Did you really kill her? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. She looked at me for a long moment, yes. And I live with that every day. But she was an innocent victim in all of this. She didn't know he was married. He told her he loved her, promised her a future. Just like he promised me. Just like he promised you. She paused, her gaze piercing. The only difference is she didn't live to see the lie. The officers came to take her back. She'd been granted a temporary release for extraordinary circumstances after writing to the parole board for months. They let her come to the wedding, let her deliver her message, and then they took her away. Marcus was arrested for fraud. It turned out he defaked her death to cash in on over $1 million in life insurance. The investigation went on for 2 years. He's now serving 12 to 15 years in a state prison. I don't know where, and I don't care. The wedding was, of course, over. I spent the next 6 months in therapy, trying to unravel all the lies and understand how I could have been so blind. And then I did something unexpected. I visited Natalie in prison. We started talking. Not about Marcus, we were both done with him. We talked about our lives, our dreams, our regrets. We became friends in the strangest way imaginable. 2 women whose lives were forever connected by the same monster. Natalie was released last year after serving 7 years. I was the one who picked her up at the gate. She looked different. Healthier, stronger, with a light in her eyes that wasn't there at the wedding. We hugged and we both cried. Now what? She asked. That was the question, wasn't it? Now we have dinner once a month. She's training to be a paralegal, dedicating her life to helping other women who've been through the system. And me, I'm engaged again. To a wonderful man who has no dead wives, no secret mistresses, and certainly no prison record. He knows everything. He's met Natalie, and he accepts that she's a part of my story. Sometimes people ask how we can possibly be friends. But the truth is simple, we both survived him. We both walked through fire and came out on the other side. A bond like that doesn't need an explanation. If Natalie hadn't shown up that day, I'd be married to a monster. Instead, I got a friend. A strange, complicated, beautiful friend who saved me from making the worst mistake of my life. Marcus wanted us both gone. But instead, we're both here. We're both free. And we're building lives he can never touch. That's the thing about liars. They think they're in control of the story. But they always forget that the truth always finds a way out. And sometimes it shows up at your wedding in a prison dress, ready to burn it all down. I am so grateful for that day. Grateful for her. Grateful for the chaos that saved me. And as for Marcus, I hope he thinks about us. I hope it eats at him every single day. Because we're out here living. And he's just existing. And that right there is justice. Thanks for listening to my story. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more.